Hi everybody, welcome back once again to this week's My Weekly Rage Fix. In this week's Parsha Shoftim, the Torah teaches us a very interesting lesson. The Torah says that when it comes to listening to our sages, which means you shall not turn away from anything that they tell you, left or right. And Rashi, the great commentator, comments that even if our sages were to tell you that left is right and right is left, you have to listen to them. Now, at first glance, this has always bothered me. What, am I supposed to just follow them blindly? Everybody knows that left is that way and right is that way. So why, A, when my sages tell me that, and B, why would I have to listen to them? Are we just supposed to shut off all realms of reality and just blindly follow them? How are we supposed to understand this Rashi? So there's a few answers, but I'd like to share one answer with you, which I believe is very applicable to other areas as well. And that is, the Torah doesn't say, listen to the sages if they tell you something that's good or bad, or something that's wickedness or righteousness. It says left and right. What is left and right? Left and right is something that the world arbitrarily decided, in order that we should all be on the same page, let's just all agree that if we're facing north, to the east we'll all call right, and to the west we'll all call left. Deal? And everybody just agreed on that. Meaning they could have done the exact opposite. Let's call to the east left and call to the west right. And it would have been the same. Meaning left and right is simply an arrangement that the world decided to make, or society made up, in order that everybody should be on the same page. And the Torah is teaching us that when it comes to Torah knowledge, when it comes to Torah Judaism, life isn't like that. Meaning, a lot of times we think things are correct because society said that it is so, or because that's just the way it is. But that's not good enough for us. We want to know what Hashem wants, and we want to know what's authentic. And the reason why this is applicable for us is because there's so many opinions out there in the world that everybody is spewing daily left and right, pun intended again. And we want to know what is correct. We don't want to just be subjective to everybody's opinion and, oh, well, I come from this background, so it's okay. I come from this background, so it's not okay. There's too many opinions out there that we don't have time to try to figure out which ones are right, which ones are wrong. And therefore, Hashem gave us a Torah. Hashem says, life is too short. You don't have time to try to figure out which of all the plethora of opinions out there are correct. And when the world decides that something is right, whether it's morality or immorality, whether it's justice or not to take justice, to take revenge, to not to take revenge, to be vegetarian or not vegetarian, to be liberal or not liberal, and so on and so forth, we need to know, what does the Torah say? We can't just choose how we follow based on what society is telling us and based on what the latest trend or the latest fad is. That's when the Torah says, do not turn away from the sages left or right. The sages are the ones that throughout the generations, they're the ones that ensure and make sure that the Torah is always followed according to how it was in the previous generation before them and before them and before them. It lets us know that you and I are still following the same Torah that our great-great-grandfathers were following centuries ago. I hope everybody has a great Shabbos. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.